going to not be a Callista or an Ornn in this game, thanks to Cloud9 Academy's bans.
Yeah, a lot of AD carry bans thus far. We'll see if Ezreal joins that list.
Very well could.
Through both games thus far today.
One ban left for each side. How do you want to spend it? Zoe for Cloud9 Academy.
Good ban. We saw Demonte.
Surprise. Yep.
Yeah, he blew people up for a lot of that game, so understandable not to want to let him get his hands on that. And Rise coming in at the end.
All right, so you've still got 2 of the 3 top mid laners up in Malzahar and Azir. We have not seen any Azir yet today. We actually have not seen Rise either. We've just seen Malzahar versus Corki and Malzahar versus Corki. So we may very well see Malzahar versus Corki. Okay, never mind. I'm already wrong.
Wow,
oh,
that was
fast. This is why I'm not the analyst / prediction man. This is.
I mean, I wouldn't have even had time. I was like, yeah, that is what I was going to say. Thanks, Echo Fox, for not making me be wrong. But it is expected. You know, Ezreal, you're talking about the best AD carry left up. Azir as well. A little surprising not to see the Malzahar or Corki, which seems to be taking over the Academy League. But maybe those two teams were scrimming each other, and they've had similar opinions. We'll have to see what they want to take and do Azir.
All right, well, they will be taking the Gnar into this matchup so far. Not obviously against the Azir in lane, but they will be bringing that as their top laner. Malzahar, the thought for C9 Academy going into this one. Third game's the charm. Could see him yet again. We know he's top tier for a reason. The ults are very oppressive. The laning is very simple. You get to push the wave very easily with the power of the Malefic Visions into the army of little space minions that he has. So they will lock that one in. And Echo Fox locks into Tristan after, trolling around.
Yeah, trolling around a little bit. Hovering the Wukong. Alarim used to be known as the Wukong One Trick, trying to break free of that label.
Shed that moniker.
But his own teammates are working against him in that way, making sure you don't forget that's how you broke onto the scene.
All right. We're done with the first part of the picks. Let's head into the second part of the bans. Zac removed by Echo Fox Academy, not wanting to allow Wiggly onto that one. Let's see what C9 responds with. They know their opponents already have their support, their AD carry, their mid laner. It's a jungle and a top that they've got to be focused on. So what are they not willing to play against?
Well, unless you're willing to ban out Jarvan and Sejuani here, you're probably not going to ban out either of those. They go with the Scion instead. I think Alarim has messed around with that. He's played a lot of weird champions over the course of his Challenger series. I think he was the guy who played that Yorick into Ornn previously. Didn't work out so well, but his team won and smashed that game anyways. And so you can expect to see, ooh, a Sejuani ban. So Fox is trying to pinch a little bit here, hoping to end up with Jarvan or forcing C9 to ban it now, going for that jungle pinch.
Right. You either end up getting Jarvan for yourselves, or you say, hey, we're dictating not only our final ban, but yours as well.
Right.
So pretty good situation to be in for us.
And if they don't ban it, you get kind of that S tier versus A tier. C9 will probably be forced into Kha'Zix or Rengar, one of these picks that isn't quite as tanky. And there you see, after a fair amount of discussion, not quite as fast as some of the other phases of this draft, decide, yeah, we don't want them to have J4.
I like that move from Echo Fox. I like seeing teams make those kinds of decisions during the draft. Like before you even get onto Summoner's Rift and you're trying to juke people or fake somebody out or anything else, getting inside your opponent's head in the draft and making them play your game, that's the stuff I do like.
And it still works out really well for them because generally speaking, people would say Kha'Zix is probably just underneath those tankier engaged junglers. He can't quite build tanky, but he's still a complete menace if he gets ahead. So he's probably the best option left up. And so even though Cloud9's like, all right, you don't get the Jarvan, you still grab yourself the Kha'Zix.
Well, let's see what they can do with that for Odd Orange, as now Cloud9 has to answer it. Remember, this team still has support.
Ooh.
And jungle to pick. Okay, I stopped there for a second so I was thinking, wait, they already have a top laner, but Jax in the jungle is going to be the call.
Yeah, Jax jungle. All right, here we go. Some people have been playing it. I believe it was played in Korea one game. I'm not 100% sure. That might have been a top lane Jax. I know it was played once. But it is something that had seen played previously. I personally don't like it when I see it show up and it's the tank Jax. I know
the Cinder Hulk one, yeah.
The Cinder Hulk, I think they go Righteous Glory as well, and they just kind of like, I'm a stun bot, and I'm really annoying.
Yeah,
and
it is really annoying.
It is. I won't deny that, but it's just, I don't love it that way because if you want to take a CC jungler, there's other options. There are a lot banned out this time, so maybe you had a little bit more difficulty, but you could always find something, and Echo Fox close out their draft with
playing Jax, you got to build like a Chad. You got to build Trinity Forces and Rage Blades and stuff like that. Go 1v1 people.
Build like a Chad? Is that what?
Yeah, that's Jax's job. That's Jax's job at the end of the day. But whatever. Unless, of course, you want to go for the Cinderhulk Righteous Glory and be super annoying, we'll have to see how he actually wants to play that one out as we work our way into this game. But like we said, in the initial discussion, this is for first place. These are the 2 remaining undefeated teams. You can't have both of them stay undefeated. Somebody's Nexus has to blow up, or we're going to be here all day.
Yep, someone will hopefully lose this game and someone will win. And I'm happy to see that the second half of the draft phase ended up a little bit more non-meta than the first half, which was sticking to completely what you would expect. And then out of nowhere, we get this Jax pick. So I'm pretty happy with this draft overall.
All right. The teams are out onto the Rift. Let's see how they decide to open this one up. Ooh, Fisherman Jack. That's a legacy skin, man. That's old school. That's like season 1?
I don't know, man.
2?
I'm horrible with skins, and Jax in particular has like a billion.
He not only has a billion, he has chromas for them too. Like, I know at least the one where he has a spike ball thing, that has a chroma.
I don't even see. Is that the Gladiator one?
No, the Gladiator one has an axe. See, the spike ball one's a different one.
You lost me already.
But they both still say, imagine if I had a real weapon, which is silly. Because an axe and a spike ball are both real weapons.
Yeah, come on. Change those voiceovers for the skin.
Well, these two are just happy having a dance-off right now. A little bit of honor among
I'm going to give it to Malzahar.
Yeah, Malzahar's actually got some pretty solid.
He's got way better dance
I like
moves.
that, yeah.
Demonte, realizing he lost the dance competition, threatened some auto attacks.
Yep, he's saying, hey, you better back up. But then again, even if he auto-attacks him, Malzahar's shield. Fine.
True.
You can endure one. I actually feel like at that point you face tank the single auto attack just to BM and say, hi, still took no damage.
I don't even care.
Yeah,
I'm
shield
gonna
comes
keep
back before the
dancing.
minions hit anyway, so it's still you still have it.
All right, so Wiggly will kind of be the focus, I think, for us a little bit this game, just seeing how this Jungle Jax works out, what he chooses to build with it. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. Just because you go Cinder Hulk doesn't mean you need to go the full defensive build, because some people go Hydra or something like that. You can see that's something that's done more in top lane than the jungle, but that can make its way down there. If you're going Devourer, obviously, you're going for a lot more focus on the actual damage.
Well, speaking of damage, you don't get much more damage in the jungle than Kha'Zix.
No.
So, I mean, you can pick a Rengar and like be on the same level, or maybe do Lethality Lee Sin or something, but Kha'Zix is one of those big threats in the jungle. I want to see what Odd Orange can do on this champion. We did get to see Moon play it earlier in the day, not to great effect, even though he got ahead early, so I want to see if maybe we see a different story here today.
I believe that Jax E does dodge. Oh, hold on, a little bit of aggression in the bot lane as Fox hits level 2 first. Jax passive, or Jax, excuse me, E does dodge Kha'Zix passive, Taste Their Fear, I believe. Right?
Yes, Jax E dodges any enchantment on an auto attack.
Right, so it's actually not a horrible matchup despite how aggressive Kha'Zixes are known to be. The fact that you can get out of that damage portion is pretty nice for him. So Kha'Zix can be very scary for a lot of people, but Jax has his countermeasures.
Yep, Jax has his ways of dealing with that threat. He's also very effective for just farming up the camps, right? I mean, having 2 seconds of the camp not being able to hit you and then having another 1 second that it's stunned, very, very easy to farm up, stay healthy for him. Again, like you said, we want to keep eyes on him, sort of see where this build goes, how this pathing works. He'll move himself towards the mid lane now, maybe looking to make a move on to Demonte.
Demonte doing a good job hugging the bot side where his jungler is, and it doesn't look like Cloud9 are actually going to want this 2v2 attempt, so just giving a little bit of support here to back up Golden Glue as he's getting pressured pretty hard by the Azir.
Yeah, Golden Glue's 200 HP and pretty much no mana, so Vault Boy's going to have to go back to the vault, get himself some more mana before he comes back
some
to mid lane.
consumables.
Yeah, grab some potions or stim packs or something.
Yeah, I was about to say, what do they call him in that?
Yeah, it's a stim pack, yeah.
Yeah. Jax breaks up off to the top side where Gnar is pressuring pretty hard. It's been a while since we've seen a ton of Gnar versus Maokai. It's been, I think, one of the more debated matchups that we've ever seen in League. Just who thinks who wins and what power spike timings. Just, everyone has a different interpretation of how it wins. Some people think, oh, it's just Gnar. He just harasses him under turret. And some people think, no, Maokai has his opportunities when it's mini Gnar to go in and chunk him out. We'll have to see how it plays out. Maokai has been nerfed a couple times recently. Haven't seen too much of him in the top lane.
Yeah. And I mean, you can throw back, this is one of those tale as old as time, song as old as top lane type of matchups. Like back in the day when it was Gnar, Maokai, Irelia, the unholy trinity of every single game, you would see these two go head to head a lot. And so Alorum kind of throwing back to that a little bit now, playing it up against the Gnar. Like you said, trying to shed that Wukong one-trick moniker. Doesn't want to just be known as the guy who monkeyed around in the top lane and found success through that. Instead has a wide champion pool. As Demonte, again, being aggressive on the Golden Glue, utilizing the power of that Azir range.
And a pretty nice showing thus far for Demonte. We talked in the intro about how for the longest time, there's High and Pobelter in the mid lane as, hold on, Lost getting jumped on. Eats the flash.
Lost, yeah, taking a lot of damage on this one. Already has to utilize the summoner spells to get himself back. Likely going to be taken down here. The perfect KDA is gone. Vanished in the blink of an eye in a 2 versus 2. Zeyzal and Keith now looking to make it a 2 for 0. Papa Chow, not long for this world. One more hit would have done it, but they can't quite find him still. A good play coming out from Cloud9.
Yeah, I think Keith ran out of mana there. His Q cooldown should have been up, but didn't have any way of actually firing that one off. Papa Chow just barely able to stay alive, and Keith and Zeyzal saying, how do you like me now, Riv?
There you go. Yeah, Riv's not going to be happy about that one since he's such a big Wasp fan, but Alorum getting himself back after the aggro from the Gnar. Let's take another look at how Keith and Zeyzal did it.
And the most important thing here is that the stun from the auto attack of Zeyzal was in motion despite the flash going off, so Lost doesn't generate nearly as much distance as he wants to. Keith can then shift on top, follow, both heals get popped, but it's too little too late. Papa Chow trading some auto attacks back, gets the stun, trying to run away, but Zeyzal's able to walk in front of him, hit him back. And then here, Keith is going to have to shift to get out of the way of the minions to hope to land a Q, but that shift itself takes up, I think, all the mana he has remaining anyways.
Yup, not quite enough for that last Mystic shot means that Papa Chow just barely limps away from that one, as now Golden Glue popping the ulti onto Damonte there in the mid lane. The follow-up coming in from both support and jungle. The Jax is there, but Damonte still with the escape.
And there you see the roaming cow from Zeyzal coming up, but Damonte, despite his best attempts, on the wrong side of the map after that.
He tried so hard, but it just wasn't enough. The Keith rotation coming up off the side to make sure that he wasn't quite able to get away with it, but almost an impressive shot.
And this is a player here in Zeyzal that, despite how successful his time on the Challenger Series was, did not receive a ton of hype individually. And we'll take another look at this one. Off getting that kill down the bot lane, instantly goes and starts impacting the top side of the map. Good chain CC by all of them there. And Golden Glue doesn't look like he has any spells left up, so the E from Damonte keeping him alive, but they're running right into Keith. He has no way out, no sums, just uses E like we saw, so he's going to go down, and Auto Orange says, see you, bud, can't help.
Yep. At that point, if you're Auto Orange, I mean, what are you supposed to do? Hang around and be like, oh, whoops, you died. I can't do anything about this. No, you just bail, go over the wall, cut your losses. Very unfortunate. Like we say, it was a great effort from Damonte, but when there's that much manpower invested into making sure you die, usually you're good.
Absolutely. And like we were saying, Zeyzal was a guy on, oh god, I can't remember the team name. I want to say Tempo Storm, but it's not. E United, there we go. When there's the rookie trio of Deathly, Zeyzal, and Licorice, two of them are on the LCS now. And Zeyzal finds himself in the Challenger Series still, despite the fact that I think a lot of people thought he was the more impressive half of the bot lane that they had there. So Zeyzal's a guy that, if you're trying to keep track of people likely to find their way into the LCS very shortly, I think Zeyzal is one of those guys.
All right, 13.2 thousand gold for Cloud9 Academy, 12.3 thousand for Echo Fox Academy. So a 1K gold lead for Cloud9 early off the plays that they've made for themselves. Puts this team in a really solid spot. Both those kills on the bottom lane as well, like we were talking about, Mark, saying this is a test for Lost and Papa Chow. Can they go up against Keith and Zeyzal? And right now, Keith and Zeyzal are being the ones saying, look, there's a reason we're the test and you're the ones taking the test.
Yeah, and you're failing it.
Yeah, somebody didn't study.
So far, very impressive out of them. Damonte, who was pressuring Golden Glue very hard. So when you can say, come on, team, he gets influenced by that matchup to the gold lead. There has mostly stabilized. No longer a CS advantage for Damonte, despite how well it was going early on.
Worth pointing out for anyone who didn't notice, Odd Orange does have the Kha'Zix R evolution first, so he has that natural cloaking whenever he walks through a brush. As long as he hasn't been in combat recently, he will still automatically cloak. It allows him to move around faster, move around undetected, and generally just give him a significantly higher amount of map presence. Because he could be anywhere.
He could be anywhere. Become a very huge threat, especially if you end up grabbing those Moby boots like a lot of Kha'Zix try to do. You can get from one side of the map to the other extremely quickly. On the other hand, Wiggly, his jungle counterpart, has the fleet footwork, so trying to stay topped up in his jungle, generally speaking, as well as allowing him to stick to his targets a little bit easier when you get that proc off. Allows you to run at them, make sure your Counter-Strike lands. And then he is going currently for the tankier build. And like I said, I'm fine with the Cinder Hulk. I like that, but it's what you do after that. Are you going to go for the Righteous Glory and become a stun bot, or do you want to be a little bit of a threat yourself?
And Fleet Footwork is one of the only keystones that actually does stuff versus jungle monsters. Very few keystones. I mean, Electrocute can't proc. You can't get an airy proc. Yeah, Aftershock's not going to do anything in the jungle. But the Fleet Footwork, even though it has the significantly reduced heal value, it's still going to give you some healing. It's still going to keep you alive a little bit.
Some healing allows you to move around the camp decently, and here we see the gank.
Ooh, okay, Golden Glue, flash ulti, Wiggly's got the stun, there's your silence, a little bit more damage will be needed. Heal popped by Damonte, trying to still get away from this one. No flash from Zeyzal. It was actually expended a little while ago while we were seeing one of the replays. So Zeyzal can't quite have this one just yet. Damonte with a bit of a greedy back. Might get punished for that. Wiggly needs one more leap strike to make this one happen. Not going to go for it.
Not able to find it. Does delay the recall a little bit, though, but it has resulted in him being a little out of position. Going to take this fight versus Odd Orange.
Odd Orange wanting to go for this one. Having Papa Chow nearby. Ignite already used. Glacial Fissure also coming down. Wiggly in some trouble. One more hit will do it. And Odd Orange gets his first kill of the game.
Well, it was a nice idea initially by Wiggly. He found the interrupt on Damonte, but probably should have backed off after the initial leap strike didn't result in the kill. Ended up chasing him all the way under his third top turret. So pretty far in there, and then the rest of his team was like, good job distracting him. We're working on the mid turret. And then, whoa, the rest of Fox collapses.
Reads a deadly sin, Mark. Can't get too greedy chasing after those enemy Azirs that only have one hit left on them. Items are starting to come in, though. Morello Namicon just now completed onto Golden Glue's Malzahar. We see a Null Magic Mantle onto Damonte, so likely going to kind of get the same thing that we've seen so far out of the non-Malzahar mid lane player in both games, where you get sort of half of your first item and then go for QSS.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he decides to go for that. It is a little bit under pressure this game, so wouldn't be too surprised to see it, but generally Azirs really want that Nashor's Tooth before going for anything else. Also, interestingly, Golden Glue and some of the other Malzahars not opting for the Spooky Ghosts, which you sometimes see on the Malzahar for setup. Can be very useful, but I guess with how much mobility is available for the carries of Echo Fox, both Azir and Tristana having ways to get away from those, maybe feels like they're not as valuable there.
One nice part about the flash into the Malzahar ulti is the fact that it's instant. So, I mean, Tristana's notorious for... I mean, pretty much you can't watch a Tristana game in a professional circuit anymore without the chat spamming remake at some point or another because of Tristana buffering some kind of CC and it looking like it's a busted interaction because of the fact that you can buffer things with her jump. But the Malzahar ulti, one of the few things that since it's instant, she's not going to buffer.
Yeah, so that's why the Spooky Ghosts are not seen as particularly useful, because if you're just Spooky Ghosting and running, she's going to get that jump off anyways. Buster Shot jump is another interaction you see all the time, so many ways potentially to outplay those engages.
So we're still looking at a little bit over a 1,000 gold lead for Cloud9 Academy. Nobody going for the Drake at all just yet. It is Mountain, which is usually regarded as either the second best Drake or sometimes even the first best Drake, better than Infernal if the game goes on long enough with the objectives to take that precedence. But Shiro and Alorum, 1 versus 1, mano a mano, everybody go home.
Everybody getting low in damage. Mountain Drake is a very interesting one because it is functionally useless in every situation aside for taking turrets or taking objectives, whereas almost every other Drake plays into multiple situations. Cloud Drake, anytime you're moving, it's giving you value. Mountain Dragon, or excuse me, Ocean Dragon, anytime you're not taking damage, you're healing up and it's topping you off. And even Infernal Drake, any interactions, it benefits you. So as we see a gank here in the mid lane.
Ooh. Nice turnaround from Golden Glue, immobilizing Odd Orange's Kha'Zix so he can't do anything else. The damage continues to come through. The DOT's still ticking. Odd Orange trying to get away, but the Malefic Visions will still seal his fate as the mid lane tier 1 falls. That's first turret of the game, and Cloud9 Academy cash in big.
Flash Malzahar ult showing its power there and showing why they try and focus so much around Golden Glue. He's a huge playmaker for this team and coordinating very well with Wiggly. Taking a look at it, just pressuring Damonte, running low on mana. They know they have to stop this, so of course the enemy jungler comes in, but Zeyzal's already on his way up here, gonna get that stun onto Odd Orange when he pops out of the stealth, flash follow, and the whole team playing back with the Wiggly showing up, Shiro showing up, a 4-man out of nowhere in the mid lane, just playing off the advantages that Golden Glue was generating for himself.
Echo Fox thought they were the ones being clever because they managed to bring their jungler in and say, all right, let's get Golden Glue, and then Golden Glue, he's not the one who got caught. He's not the one who got caught. But they did manage to get themselves both the kill and the turret. That's a 3,000 gold lead for this team. Now I want to see what they do with it. The map is opened up a little bit. You take down the mid lane tier 1, paths into the jungle become much more effective. You can put some more wards down. You can look at the enemy buffs. Where do you go from here to really snowball this lead as good as you can?
It's a little scary to force onto a Maokai just to how tanky he is, but he is entirely armor. So if you can get that Malzahar up there with the Jax, you actually do have a decent chance of finding a kill onto him. With that mid lane down, maybe that's where you look next. Wiggly, with the space that they have, just going to solo this one out, basically.
Now, on Wiggly, I'm a little bit curious here, Mark, because he's got a Giant's Belt second. Are we just going to see the Warmog's approach that you see from Sejuani builds, that you see from some, like, Jarvan builds sometimes? Because it's not a Righteous Glory item.
I'll have to see. I mean, the thing about Jax that he lacks compared to basically everyone else is a way to contribute from range. I mean, even discounting the Sejuani ult, which is huge, you even have your W to threaten some damage at people from close range. Jax has literally no way of doing anything but attacking you with his melee weapon. So he does struggle to contribute in some situations, so I can understand a Warmog being useful from being able to heal up.
Yeah, just have him be the meatball and stand in front.
Right, so you can understand why that would be useful. The reason most people go Righteous Glory second, though it doesn't build out of this, is because if you're not going to be able to contribute from range anyways, just make sure you actually get into melee range and be useful, and that's where the Righteous Glory can help you. So it's, I guess, a decision he's going for here, saying I'd rather be able to stand in front of things more often than being able to try and pull the trigger.
All right, let's check in on where we are in the farm between everybody as Odd Orange cancels my plans, moves himself up into the top lane, looking to make this fight a little less fair than Shiro was hoping for. Shiro flashing himself away. Narbar fully charged means that this effort from Fox is going to fall short. While bottom side, Shelly is summoned. Mark, we're going to get to see a Shelly that pays off, baby. Here we go. Slam your head into the turret. Take it down with a Demolish proc if you have to, but get that objective. Cloud9 Academy utilizing the Rift Herald properly, summoning it on the other end of the map after they saw Fox put too many resources on.
It was a good try on the side of Echo Fox. Also, Shiro, I do not believe, was able to land his bounce, getting the second part of the jump. So they had a chance to kill him, but he gets the flash out, hits Meganar as well to make sure he gains enough health. And Fox get basically nothing but a summoner for losing the bot lane turret.
And now that's 2 turrets down on the side of Fox. Cloud9 Academy with that 2-0 lead means that more of the map is opened up, more global gold is in their pockets, and like I was going before the fight broke out, when you look at the farm, it's very close. I mean, it's dead even in the mid lane. It's 1 off in the bottom lane. Top side, the Gnar has a 1-wave advantage. So your biggest farm difference is actually in the jungle between the Jax and the Kha'Zix, which leads you to a world where every single other difference just becomes that much more pronounced because you don't have leads being built passively through this farming.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the fact that the Jax is pretty far ahead of the Kha'Zix as well is huge for him. He wants to be really tanky and threatening, being able to just run at people. And so far, that's perfectly on point. You see 600 gold advantage for him. A couple other 600 gold advantages, almost all of them seemingly through global objectives as well as kills.
And it looks like he is going for the Warmog's build so far. Considering he got the Kindle Gem as the item after the Giant's Belt, that's generally indicative of that being the path you want to go to. So it looks like you were right. The strategy for him is, hey, if I can't throw stuff into these little poke fights and skirmishes we have, I'm just going to make sure that all the stuff they throw hits me and then does nothing.
Yeah. And they have a fair amount. You are against an Azir. Even Kha'Zix has some stuff to throw. Tristana's ranges get pretty large, so you can understand wanting to not just get chunked out of fights as a champion that only has melee ranges. Here we see Zeyzal wrapping around.
All right, Zeyzal looking to be that mad cow for his team. Demonte trying to get away, but Golden Glue takes him down, and Cloud9 Academy now, after removing that enemy mid lane threat, they've got the inside track onto the tier 2 mid lane. They take down the tier 1 in the top lane. The Demolish proc on the T2 here in mid should mean the same thing happens to it. Wiggly tries to go in, not quite able to find the combo onto Lost. He's looking for True Shot Barrage, comes out. Papa Chow goes down. Odd Orange keeping himself away as the route onto Zeyzal's not going to matter too much. The Aftershock way too strong. Alora now going to be knocked up into the air, and they are going lumberjack and taking that tree out of the picture. Lost has the DOT still on the Mystic Shot. Going to be intercepted, but it's still a double kill over the way of Keith.
I mean, that was a very cute play there out of Odd Orange to keep his comrade alive, but he goes down on his own. Still the same amount of gold going into Keith pockets either way. Now you're just down a summoner. So I appreciate the idea.
They take the mid lane inhibitor turret at 19 minutes.
Yeah, this team,
that's crazy.
They're snowballing super hard, and once again, off the back of Zeyzal, who just shows a very good understanding of how a situation is going to play out and what he needs to use to get the desired outcome. We'll take another look at this hopefully in a second here, because his decision to, oh, it's a little bit after the play I was thinking about. But here you see Zeyzal, turrets dropping, enemy a little bit too far forward. They don't have any way to threaten this. Wiggly goes in initially, gets the first defensive stuff out before Zeyzal follows up, gets the first stun, starts getting chunked out, baits them into thinking they can finish him off before kiting out. Now Alarm's a little bit too deep. He's going to go for it, engage. Probably could have backed out after getting the headbutt pulse combo. Doesn't need to look for the E stun as well, but it does once again bait Fox Academy for staying too close. And there's that cute flash forward, but net result's the same either way.
He dies for his 80 carry sins. He's saying, look, you already died once. That's more than the previous 3 games combined. I got to protect you.
Yeah, protect the KDA for Lost. Probably not worth it overall. But the point I wanted to make with Zeyzal before that was just he knew that the shuffle was coming in for Demonte, so rather than going for a headbutt pulse combo, as I hopefully don't have to stop this point.
Good.
Instead of going in
you're
for
good.
Am I good?
I think you're good. All right, you're good.
Instead of going in for the headbutt pulse combo, he goes for the flash pulverize to get the knockup and headbutt the Azir closer. It's very important to know the difference because, one, your headbutt pulse combo can get interrupted by an Azir ult, and then you would lose that opportunity. And 2, you want the actual displacement of knocking the Azir in to make it easier for your carries to get their damage in. So knowing exactly, A, what was needed to get the kill, and B, what the Azir was going to try and do to avoid that from happening was very important for Zeyzal.
All right, now Cloud9 Academy with this massive lead that they've got, 8,500 gold, only 21 minutes into the game. You've got to think that things are looking dire for Echo Fox. And we talked about how it's on Cloud9 to impress coming into this game. This is the team that you look at and a lot of people are saying, man, that's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I think both teams have actually had moments that you can say you're impressed with. Demonte had a great advantage over Golden Glue before the excellent team synergy came in and influenced that matchup. And on the side of Cloud9, yeah, they have excellent team synergy. It's very, very impressive to see as Zeyzal playing zone duty here.
Zeyzal just trying to keep Odd Orange away from this when they don't want to risk the 50-50. They know that's one way they could still lose this game. Baron Nashor secured by Cloud9. True Shot Barrage over the wall. Papa Chow the first one to fall. Odd Orange number 2. Still everyone alive on the side of Cloud9 as a double kill comes in for Golden Glue. Finds its way on Demonte. Lost jumping over the wall, trying to stay alive, but the flash into the boomerang will take him down. Alorum trying to escape away from this one, but the counter-strike should be too much. Nearly returns the favor onto Wiggly. Does, in fact, get it thanks to that last-minute sapling. But now you're still staring down the barrel of 4 out of 5 Cloud9 members. They're still marching up the top lane. They're onto the inhibitor turret. Taking that down moves them onto the inhibitor itself. And only just now, Mark, are the members of Fox respawning.
Just coming up, both inhibs going down. Don't know if C9 thinks that they're going to be able to actually finish the game here. They might just take both these and reset with those big gold advantages that they're building and try and finish off that last lane down the bot lane. But once again, very impressive team synergy there. You see Zeyzal over the wall. Knowing that the Kazakhs can stealth, he actually uses his sweeper to spot out the Kazakh coming. Perfectly timed, gets the pulverize, which doesn't need the target, starts channeling the E, so when he does show up out of stealth, he can get that stun off. Very heads-up play, buys time for his team to finish off Baron, and then all of them flashing over the wall, using their mobility to get involved in this fight so that they can clean up all these kills. Shiro teleports in from the backside as well, chasing down onto Lost. They're able to get this ace with only Wiggly going down. Very impressive synergy.
And Wiggly just barely goes down here as well. It's that little sapling right there.
The little thing hanging onto his head, hitting on him.
Yeah. It's that little tiny extra brush thingy. If it was only a normal sapling and not a brush one, wouldn't have mattered there. Zeyzal stunned up. Really completely unconcerned about this, though. Cloud9 Academy looking to put the final nails in this coffin, push up the last remaining lane, break that last standing bastion of defense, and grab themselves that sole uncontested first place spot in the North American Academy League. Only one row of inhibitors stands between them.
I think they're probably going to be pretty aggressive here. Triple tanks with Malzahar means that as long as they can find someone to CC, they can finish him off very quickly.
Speaking of finding someone to CC, Odd Orange dropped immediately. Alorum on the front line, trying to hold this as long as he can, but he's just not tanky enough. Shiro absorbing a lot of damage from that turret, but it'll drop shortly now. Wiggly, again looking to go in. Again with the counter-strike, that stun bot you were talking about, the pure tank Jax. The inhibitor now falling. That's a 3-inhib game, Mark. That means double super minions every single wave, daily, nightly, ever so rightly. The Jack's gonna be taken low, not quite taken down. That time it's going to be Lost, who does secure that kill for his team. Cloud9 kiting upwards through the enemy base. So much of this map is their territory. They kite through the enemy base because it's safe. It's a land that they own. They can move around here, do whatever they want, and they're still just fine. They back out. They take down a Nexus turret and an inhib at the cost of their jungler.
Got a little dicey towards the end there. Shiro dropped very low as well. Lost was hoping to start resetting through that fight as Tristana. Not actually able to find the second kill after dropping Wiggly, so for the moment, Fox Academy will live on, but 0 inhibs, 1 Nexus turret left means that this game is all but over.
You need a miracle now if you're Echo Fox Academy. You honestly need him to just start a conga line of running it down mid. But let's see how this fight went down bottom.
It starts out, like we said, very easy to find one target. Auto Orange too far forward. The fact that he is not a tank gets dropped right away. And then it's slightly staggered from this point on. Zeyzal goes in, no real follow-up. He's going to get disengaged, and then Wiggly's going to go in. Golden Glue wants to wrap around the side, but Demonte's going to chunk him out, so he can't keep walking forward. So now everyone's starting to get a little low. Some people go for the Nexus, some people go for the chasing down on kills. They get a little split up, which is why that push stalls out. But from here on in, Echo Fox basically have to fight with no structures.
Let's see if they can defend it, Mark. It's 13,000 gold down.
You want to make a bet?
As long as you're betting on them actually succeeding.
No, that's my side.
No. I want that side. Okay, we're not going to do the bet because we're both thoroughly convinced how this is going to turn out. If Echo Fox can make this somehow work, they will truly be next level. But they've only got 1 Nexus turret standing. The Demolish counting down that thing's demise. It should fall momentarily. Alorum firing off the ulti, but it's actually going to be his own AD carry that gets ulted by the Malzahar. Alorum drops. That's your tank. The game now looking to end off the back of this push. The Nexus below half HP. The entirety of Echo Fox trapped in the fountain. No way out. And it's Cloud9 who secure themselves the uncontested first place.
Very dominant performance out of them as well. Like you said, that 19-minute inhibitor off of a mid push. Them all working together with so much synergy. Golden Glue struggling, break him out of the mid lane, give him the help that he needs so he can start going out in the map and influencing the other lanes. A complete team victory.
That was the most convincing game of the day, easily. Like you said, 19.5-minute inhibitor. It was clean from Cloud9. As soon as they got that advantage, they just built and built and built. And before you know it, the whole thing was done.
And it started off with, sadly, just an individual mistake down the bot lane. Zeyzal and Keith able to find the first blood down there in the bot lane. And then out of nowhere, Alistar's unchained. He's running around the map, influencing other lanes, and made it very difficult for Demonte to continue to try and push that lead that he had done a great job building on his own.
And I think that's actually a really important thing to look at. When you look at the differences between the academy level and the LCS level, or any of the other top league pro levels, right, is the higher up and higher up you should go. Essentially, in like the perfect world of League of Legends skill, you should never die 2 versus 2. You should never die 1 versus 1. You should know this situation is too dangerous or this situation doesn't work. I'm not going to be in this situation. And so as you get higher and higher, those situations disappear more and more and more. And I think that's one thing that these players are really going to need to recognize and really going to need to improve on if they want to make that next step up from academy to the professional level, is being able to recognize, yo, that 2v2 is pretty bad.
Right, so 2v2 is not going to work out, so we got to play it safe or something. And that's where the team synergy part comes in, is making sure that you're forcing situations where the enemy team has no other choice but to die. And that's one of the things that Cloud9 did really well here with those 3-man roams on mid and things like that.
3-man roams mid. Let's go ahead and take a look at one that happened around 20 minutes that actually results in a 3-for-0 for Cloud9 with the whole team.
This comes off the back of Zeyzal, who was able to find a pickoff onto Demonte once again. The enemy team gets baited into trying to defend their turret. They do a good job forcing this fight again. Zeyzal and Wiggly coordinating their stuns together, finding targets one at a time. They're able to get Zeyzal back for forcing these fights, but Keith is going to go aggressive here. We know he can get very, very bloodthirsty. Goes back in, wants to punish him. No, you don't stop me from getting that kill.
Absolutely not. That belongs to Keith today, but that's what led to that inhibitor. That was actually slightly before 20 minutes, even though I rounded it up. And it ended up with this team having the opportunity to never hit that wall that we were talking about. How we said sometimes you would see a team hit the inhibitor wall and then the game slows down. You've got to wait for Baron. You've got to wait for all these other things. But for Cloud9 Academy, it just never was a thing. It's like, oh, that problem that normally is there, that doesn't exist.
And it's super important that they were able to avoid that problem because you're going up against Azir Tristana, a super strong late game with a Maokai tank. So it's very important that you keep that snowball going, and they did a great job of it, turning the Baron basically right after that.
Oh, yeah, the Baron afterwards was really big for Cloud9 Academy in locking the game away and just absolutely removing any hope that Echo Fox had of coming back.
And there you see Zeyzal doing a great job zoning out Auto Orange so he has no chance. Alarim's teleporting into the backside. Team doesn't care. They're going to go hop that wall and force down the front side of the fight. So able to grab some kills right away. Lost is trying his best to find a kill. Wiggly still had his Hourglass available, so he doesn't go down. And then Shiro finally gets his teleport in, finds Lost, who was trying to kite around the far side of the fight. And then Wiggly wants to set his team up for that final kill.
And he does.
He gets the final kill, but he gives his life up for it.
The sacrificial lamb. The Jax that had to give everything so that his team could do anything.
Full tank Jax, man, that's not a greedy player's way of playing the game. You see the Jax, you're like, oh, I hope this guy goes super greedy, tries to build damage, carry the game. And Say says, no, you know what? We have some great players on this team. I just need to set them up.
Well, speaking of great players on the team, we actually have one of those players here right now to hear more about the victory. I would like to welcome Golden Glue to the broadcast via Skype. Golden Glue, how are y'all feeling after that win?
Hey guys, what's up? We're feeling pretty good. I feel like this was the first real Academy game that we're able to like fully transition our strength from scrims of the game, and I think it kind of showed. Even though they were the only other undefeated team, we swept them up pretty cleanly.
So you say you're undefeated, and this is the first time that you feel like you've really shown. Is this something where you expect to continue dominating the Academy League?
Yeah, the Academy standings are kind of odd because we were assuming like us and TSMA were going to be the best two teams coming in, and then they ended up kind of not doing so well their first games on stage. I think like I wouldn't be surprised if we go undefeated throughout the season.
Well, I mean, you guys looked good. You looked like you had your synergy down. I mean, we saw a couple of different times that your opponents that game tried to make plays specifically onto you. I remember mid lane, Odd Orange comes in stealth. They're looking to punish you when you have DeMonte under the turret, and you just stand there. You hold your ground. You ult them. You guys turn the fight around. You end up getting the turret itself. What's the communication like on this team right now?
So this game, it really depends game to game. This game, we had a really good draft where we picked a really strong ball lane, and our ball lane performed extremely well. They drafted to have a really strong 2v2 mid, so we kind of played around just transitioning our bot strength into mid lane, and I think we did a really good job of that.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a time where you were down, I think, 10 CS, and then instantly Zeyzal starts making his way up there, turning all that around. And I think the thing that impressed us the most was not just that early game transition, but the late game, breaking the inhibitor, instantly going to the Baron buff, and just exploding this game wide open.
Yeah,
they ended up taking a lot of fights versus us in the mid game when we had a really strong power spike, so it ended up actually blowing up really fast.
Yeah, you guys' entire team just seemed to work as a very cohesive unit. It looked like you guys were just all on the same page. There was no sort of stopping. There was no stall in the action. Is that part of the plan for you guys? Are you focusing on making sure that you close out those early leads and sort of just transitioning what is a lead into what is a win?
Yeah, so we had a pretty good early lead this game, and we knew we were on a timer. They have like really strong carries, Azir and Tristana. So we were talking about multiple ways that we can close out the game. We ended up deciding to go for the Baron since we have such good abilities to zone Kazakhs off. And Zeyzal did a really good job of zoning out the Kazakhs, not even giving him a chance to do it. So we definitely knew that we had to push our advantages, or else they could come back.
So final question here, talking about goals for this team. You already said you want to go undefeated, but what is some stuff that the players are individually looking for? I mean, a lot of you guys are obviously hungry. Some of you hungry to get back into the LCS. Some of you looking for your first chance. How is it to like kind of weigh those two goals against each other, or do you think it's not different at all?
You know, I think there's a lot of different goals for a lot of different players on Academy. For me, my goal is becoming a better leader for my team. This is like the first team where I'm like the oldest player, I'm the most experienced. So I'm really working on my leadership skills, and we have a new player, League or Shiro, and we're working on making him like an LCS caliber player. And this is his first season, and he's doing really well. So a lot of the goals are different, but for me, it's just become the best leader I can be, and then eventually transition that back onto stage in LCS at some point.
Well, you guys definitely looked like the uncontested top team here today. Thank you again for joining us. Congratulations once again on being the guys standing at the top of the ladder. Here's hoping to see you guys make a lot more cool moves as the season continues.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we heard from him. This team They're obviously doing good work together. They were coordinated this time around. The communication was where it needed to be. And that's what I want to hear from the team that's 4-0. I want to hear how everything behind the scenes is working really well, and this team deserves to be where they're at, because right now, Cloud9 Academy, that's your team to beat.
Absolutely, and I love the way that they talk about how each of them have individual goals, but making sure that they all work together on that. So Golden Glue wants to be more of a leader, and I think if you look at this game, it was fantastic how he identifies we have an advantage in the bot lane, I'm at a disadvantage in the mid-jungle 2v2, so you know what? I'll just wait until they can start coming up here and influencing my lane, and that's something that's great to see out of someone who wants to be the veteran voice on the team.
Well, that may have been our most decisive game so far today, but there's more league action coming up after the break. We'll return with Game 4 of the night with Team Liquid Academy taking on 100 Thieves. Don't miss it.